Our next movie from the summer this is going to be spicy. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Is it spicy? We're both on the same page here. It was bad.
No, not spicy between us. Anytime we talk bad about Indiana Jones, I've gotten attacked. And
yeah. Hey, to everyone who's like, well, it's a nostalgia fest. Shut up. You didn't like the sequel trilogy because they did the exact same thing. But because this is Indiana Jones where you like it and you're more partial to it, it's okay. Shut up. The nostalgia was the worst part about this movie. I'll be honest. Actually, that's a lie. Phoebe Waller-Bridge was the worst part of this movie.
Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, where nerds talk about nerdy things. Post episode 100, we are back and better than ever. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Jackson Glass. As always, I'm with my ride or die, Mr. Nick Barrett. Sir, how was your week?
Awful. Thank you for asking.
Oh,
anyway,
cool.
Actually, I mean, it hasn't been that bad.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been 2 weeks since we recorded.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode to edit because while I was editing that episode, I managed to clean out the entirety of under my bed.
Oh, sick.
Throw out probably half of what was under my bed and reorganize it. I also reorganized my TV shelf there, and I reorganized half my closet. Like, I had so much time while just listening.
Yeah.
I was able to do stuff around my room
Yeah.
that I actually needed to do for weeks.
Yeah.
Aside from that, it's just been work. As usual.
Working for the weekend.
Work on the podcast. I recorded 2 YouTube videos
Sick.
last weekend, which
Nice.
you guys will see
soon.
ish.
Yep.
We're trying to be more consistent with the YouTube content.
Got some good stuff.
What else? I'm trying to think. You really caught me off guard. I thought there was going to be more.
That's
I thought I was
okay.
going to have more time.
I need more time.
I need more time. Introverts, when they have to say here in class, I need more time.
Present? No, sorry. I mean,
I did get a new Lego set. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
I got the Sith. If you're watching the video, I got the Sith Inquisitor ship from
cool,
Kenobi,
very cool.
which is a story because. So I was at Walmart yesterday, right?
Right.
And this is I have a bigger point to make here about Legos in general. So I'm at Walmart last night, and I'd already gone to Target. And I didn't really see any sets I liked at Target because I really wanted to get a Lego set. Like, I had that desire to build a Lego set.
The masculine urge to buy a Lego set.
Absolutely. So I'm at Walmart, and I was very on the fence about it. And the last time I bought a Lego set, I was at Target, and I called Jackson and asked for his opinion because I value his opinion. So I'm standing there at Walmart, and I decided to go, you know what? Pull out my phone. Hello. I want to buy this Lego set, which is not the one that I bought.
Right.
I wanted to get the Mandalorian Starfighter. And I was like, should I buy this Lego set? And he was like, well, I'm currently on a date with my girlfriend checking out at this restaurant. Talk to my girlfriend about it instead.
You can say
so I get her on the phone.
We were checking out at Cracker Barrel. I'll be honest.
Cracker Barrel. So I'm on the phone with her, and she's like, well, if you can afford it financially and not go broke because of it, I think it's okay. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So she hands the phone back to Jackson. He gets on the phone, and he's like, yeah, I mean, pretty much the same thing. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll send you a picture of it later. I walk to the aisle. I get there. And I start, instead of just picking up the set that I'm going to buy and walking away, which is what you really should do. Yeah. I stood there for like 10 seconds too long and started contemplating, okay, well, that's at $60 and I get this many minifigures and it has this many pieces. And then I looked down and I saw the Inquisitor ship and I was like, that's $100. I get 4 really cool minifigures that I like. And the ship actually looks pretty dope. I think it looks a lot cooler than the Mandalorian one. Okay, I'll buy it.
All right, why not?
So I bought it. Here's part of the story I didn't tell you, though.
Oh,
is
gosh. Okay.
It had one of, like those security things that they put on it so you can't steal it? Yeah. And it's got the straps on it.
Yep.
So I did self-checkout, which was mistake number 1. I knew the thing was on there. If
Yeah.
it was a normal Lego set, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
So I scan it. Nobody comes over because it's Walmart.
Oh, of course.
And I'm like, okay, well, this isn't good. So I finally get somebody's attention, and they walk over and they're like, oh yeah, let me. And they're trying to take it off, and it's not coming off. And they're like, oh, maybe it's this station. Like, go up to customer service, and they can like get it off for you. And I'm like, okay. So I walk over to customer service with this guy. I've already paid, by the way. Like, I've checked out and everything.
It's yours.
I'm over at customer service. There's nobody at customer service. The lights are off. Like, customer service has been closed all day. So the guy knocks on the door, and this team leader comes out from a secret room, and he's like, I don't know, take it to this register. And so, like, we walk over to the register. They're at the register trying to get it off. And we can't get it off. It's not working. And the guy was like, well, can we just cut it? And she was like, no, don't cut it because that'll set the alarm off. And I was like, that makes sense. That checks out.
That makes sense, yeah.
So we go back over to customer service, and he knocks on the door again and is like, hey, we can't get it off. And the guy's like, okay, well, let me find a pair of scissors. We'll just cut it. And I was like,
we were told
not supposed to do. So we're standing there waiting for the scissors. And this poor, like, he was a greeter. He wasn't even, like...
This is above his pay grade.
Yeah,
this is
way above his pay grade. He sits there, and he just slowly pulls it and stretches it and just pulls it off. And the whole thing falls off, and he hands me the box, and he's like, there you go. We'll figure out how to unlock it later. You can take it and go. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. So I put it in the bag, and I carried the receipt in my hand so it didn't look like I went up, took it off myself, and was stealing it. Because listen, I don't want to be that guy. But actually, I'm not even gonna go there. 'Cause I'm gonna say that, and then I'm gonna regret saying it.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, some stealing happens at Walmart. That
yeah, it was especially for people of my ethnicity.
Right.
Anyway, moving on. That was the most difficulty I've ever had buying a Lego
Which
set.
it would not be near as funny if it was anything but Legos. It's like
Right.
we have a team of 4 people getting the security tag off of this Lego set.
It's
It's
only $100.
No,
it wasn't
literally.
even like it wasn't even like the big like UCS land speeder. That's like $300. Like it was $100 set, which by the way is not security taped at Target. They had the same set at Target that does not have the thing on it.
That's how you know you're at Walmart, baby.
What does that tell you about Target? Although, I don't know. Our Target's starting to look like a Walmart.
Really?
Like, I don't know if it's just ours specifically and, like, the people who work there. But in certain aspects of being at Walmart, I was almost more... Like, it felt higher, like, cleaner and higher quality than our Target. Which is usually, like, it's always the other way around. But the people at Walmart...
So
the people at Walmart who worked there were, like, actually kind of friendly, kind of happy, and seemed like they didn't want to die. And the aisles were all clean, and it was just kind of wild. And then you go to Target, and the aisles are nasty. Everything is, like, out of stock. Nothing is sorted properly. And the people who all work there look like they want to die.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, after what Target's been through the last few months, I get it.
Yeah.
I would want to die, too. So... it was just a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah.
And now...
Interesting.
probably won't buy Legos from Walmart anymore.
Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
We'll see.
Other
than that, incredibly interesting story that happened yesterday. I don't think anything too crazy. I watched some movies, but that loops into... Oh! My I'll pass it over to you in a second. My overarching point about Legos. I'm going to sound like the guy from Community, the teacher, where he's like, what happened to Legos?
What happened to
That's
Legos?
me right
They
now.
used to be so
What happened to
simple.
Legos? Not that it used to be simple, but I walk in the aisle at Target, and I really only wanted to spend like $30 on a cool like ship or like just something. Because I've been binge watching a lot of Star Wars, and you know that monkey brain, boy brain is like, I just want to pick up a ship and make ship noises in my room and fly it around. So I'm looking for a real cheap ship.
Little ship.
And I'm in the aisle. All the sets suck, man.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't are like $400. Not really, but like all the cool ones are like $70, $80 for 500 pieces, which is super nerdy because like when I was a kid, when I was growing up, and really into Legos before, it was like you could walk in and get a really solid like 500-piece Ninjago set for $30.
Yep.
And that was just the norm. And now, like, all the Ninjago sets suck, but I've already talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very frustrating that it seems like the quality is going down while the prices are continually going up.
Not the
And
inflation.
It's frustrating because, like, yes, inflation does play a part in it. Like, everything's gotten a little more expensive.
Right.
And I that part I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't feel like I need to be paying $60 for a set that has 300 pieces and 3 minifigures, one of which is Baby Yoda, so that doesn't even count.
Right.
So it's like, this is overpriced. And they can say, well, it's the licensing tax. And it's like, well, the Ninjago sets have the same issue.
Yeah.
And that they're not paying a licensing fee for Ninjagos. So
because they fully own, that's their thing. They own Ninjago.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's fully inflation. I really don't. I think some of it is they know that they can make more money, so they go for it.
I want better priced Lego sets, I think, is my closing comment.
I think we should strike.
Can we strike from buying Legos? Do wonders for my wallet.
We're unionizing the Lego fans.
Lego fans, unite. Come together.
Cool.
Much like the plastic bricks that we all love. Let's join together and stop this money increase.
That's beautiful, man.
Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead.
Anyway, no, you're good. I don't know what a whole lot to say about this week. If you're watching the video, you can tell I went back to school, made it. I'm here.
Your room looks so nice, by the way.
Thank you. I really like my room. I got the 3 guitars hanging up, the amp. My whiteboard is back. The whiteboard is back, baby. We missed it over the summer. But yeah, just a lot of school stuff that no one really cares about. So just kind of getting ready for classes and whatnot. The one interesting thing that we have been getting into is we're learning how to make syrups right now. And so me and Colin, who was on our childhood video games episode, we've been learning a lot about coffee. We've been getting really into coffee, and we decided that we should make our own syrups. And so we've been developing a ginger snap syrup for coffee. And we did 3 batches, finally ended on 1. And let me tell you, that junk is good. So, has a little bite of ginger. Good stuff. I do this thing where I realized I can do something, and then I'm like, just really want to do it again. And I have like these micro fixations that last like a week. And so I think my fixation for this week is coffee syrup. And so I'm like, okay, simple syrup is sugar and water. We can put whatever the heck we want in that. Like, let's just go for it. Why not? So just a lot of cooking syrups, moved into school, working on videos, did a video for the podcast YouTube channel about physical media that did really well. Thank you if you watched that.
Really well.
Did really well. So thank you if you watched that. I'm really happy with that video. And I mean, I don't know what else. I've been watching. This is out of character for me because I don't usually watch shows like this. I've been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is for adults. This is an adult show. And the premise is horrible people do horrible things and they get what's coming to them, which isn't my style at all. I'm not like, oh, let me go watch this M-rated comedy. Like, that's not me at all. But I also learned that the first season of It's Always Sunny started in 2005, I believe. And they're still going, by the way. They have like 16 seasons of this show. And so I'm still in season 2 right now. Danny DeVito just got introduced. So I'm still giving it a chance to get Danny DeVito in there. So what I realized is 2005 was a different time to be alive. Because you could say whatever you wanted. There are some things that this show is getting away with that I am just floored by, because there is no way you'd get away with it today. And this is a much longer, deeper conversation for another day, but I think that's why I like it. I think I'm like kind of starved for comedy at this point because none of the like comedy shows that are being made right now are really that funny to me because I feel like they're super restricted by culture, where like they're kind of afraid of getting in trouble of saying stuff, where It's Always Sunny like says whatever it wants. And in 2005, like that was, I don't really know. I need to do some research. Like, I don't know if this was groundbreaking for 2005, if it was edgy then, and I don't know. But I'm enjoying it. I'm going to go through the second season and see if I want to continue, because it's quite a commitment. 16 seasons is a lot. But it's good to catch up on TV after watching so many movies this year. That's what I'll say. Yeah. And so
truly,
we talked about this a little bit. I'm kind of burnt out on movies. I know we've been doing the movie watching competition, and it's going to continue. It's still going on. But I'm also just like, I can't keep watching movies. I'm at the point that I got to last year for movies. I ended in the 80s last year for all year. And now it's August, and I'm in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of exhausted.
It's hard because movies are so much more of a time commitment than a TV show. Mm-hmm. Like, I can sit down and watch a couple episodes of anime before I go to bed and call it a day. But I can't necessarily do that with a movie. And especially if it's a new movie that I haven't seen, I don't feel like I can be on my phone or anything. Like, you really have to dial in and pay attention. And just the fact that they're longer. Like, yeah, you could say, oh, watch an hour and a half long movie or 5 episodes of a TV show equals about the same amount of time. TV show feels different.
It feels different.
Like, that hour and a half feels very different than the hour and a half long movie.
I feel like I have the opportunity to stop. It's not that I'm going to stop. It's the thought that I could.
Right.
That's more important. It's very psychological. It really is.
Yeah, and I also feel like too much of a thing you like, you will eventually get burned out. Mm-hmm. And the speed and the frequency with which we've watched movies up to this point is what's killing us. Is like you said, we both finished in the 80s last year, and that was like December 20th. Like a very end of the year. But we're already at that point, and we still have 4 months to go. Yeah. So, like, how high is that number going to go? And are we going to this year set a number that's so high that we're never going to actually watch that many movies in a year again? Yeah. Because we're doing it for the competition. And I think the number of movies isn't the problem. It's how, like, quickly we've watched them for the sake of the challenge and like racing to that number. Whereas if it was, we're just going to see who can watch the most movies this year. Yeah. And then that's more of an open-ended, like, I don't feel the need, like, oh, Nick's ahead, I feel like I need to watch more movies so that I can get ahead. When you turn it into a game and make it a competition, that's when
you're like,
it just becomes not fun. Like, it's still fun, but it's also like, I just don't want to watch movies. I want to watch anime. I want to play video games. Like, especially working full-time for me, and I know, like, you're doing school now, so it's kind of like your free time has shrunk. Yep. So what you do with that free time now becomes a lot more, like, your time becomes a lot more valuable. So how am I going to spend that? Watching a movie, playing video games, watching a show, building a Lego set, editing podcast stuff. Like, there's so many things competing for your time, and just being tired of watching movies makes it fall really low on the priority list.
That's the thing about, like, the summer. Was, like, in summer, I had time to go watch a movie I didn't really care about. Because I was like, whatever, I'll go turn on a movie. I'm at a point now that I'm in school, I have school, I have work, I have podcast stuff, like other YouTube content stuff, like, gotta do this and that. I don't have the time to just not care about a movie. Now, last night, we were hanging out, and someone was like, do you want to turn on a movie? I was like, sure, whatever. And I'll be honest, I was very freed by we watched Deadpool, and it was a movie I had seen before, And we had this mutual agreement that we're just casually watching this movie. Like, we had conversation. I like scrolled on my phone a little bit. I updated like my phone settings. We like talked about it. We were like laughing at the movie, but it was like, oh, I'm allowed to casually watch a movie. Like, casually. Right. This is okay. And that was very freeing. We didn't even finish it. Like, we had like 20 minutes left, and we're like, well, I'm going to bed. Good night. I was like, all right, good night. Which I never do. I always have to finish a movie. And I'll probably go finish it later. But it was very like, this is okay. Like, I don't have to. So I was very freed by that experience. So that being said, how many movies are you at this year?
I think I'm at 83.
Okay. Since
I don't remember what I was at last episode.
Were you at?
I think I was at.
Were you at 80?
80? I think so. I think I was at 80 with duplicates, and now I'm at 83 with duplicates.
Yeah. Okay. With duplicates, which?
Oh well, go ahead. I forgot you had to say yours too.
Oh, you. I'm currently at 82. So you're staying one ahead of me for now.
One ahead. It's always been very close.
It's always been very close. That's the thing is, like, I'm gonna finish out the competition, but I'm also like, we're never doing this again.
No,
no, this is a lot.
I think it would be fun to do like, who can watch the most movies,
right?
But
overall,
not who's
not
the
race.
First to 100.
Right. That may have been a bad decision.
Have you ever been ahead of me? Aside from the very beginning,
I was ahead of you.
Well, yeah, of course you started ahead. I didn't start watching movies till February.
Well, I think I was ahead of you for a couple months, like as you were trying to catch up. But then once you started watching movies at work, that's when you were like,
no.
You were in it.
Here's what happened. We started the challenge because I forget we took January off this year.
Yep.
So our calendar is like pushed back by a month. Not really. But we started, like you said in the first episode in February, you were like, hey, I want to watch 100 movies this year. And then by the next episode, I was like, hey, what if we made this like a recurring, like a challenge to see who could get there first? When I had like 3. Yeah. And then in that 2 weeks, you were at like 16.
Oh, yeah.
By the 2 weeks to the next episode, I was like, oh, by the way, I'm at like 21.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were like, what?
You're like,
what? Huh? And I think I've stayed ahead.
We've been pretty cutthroat.
Actually, I feel think like you pulled ahead once, but it was only by like 2.
Yeah, there was
because
one
then
or 2 times.
You went on vacation, and that's when I pulled back ahead.
We've been within 2 movies of each other almost the entire time.
Yeah, it's been very close. I don't think it helps that we watch all the same movies, though.
No, literally.
Like, especially the stuff in the theater is like, we both saw
also
Indiana Jones.
Went and saw that.
We both saw Guardians of the Galaxy. Like,
or like if we watched
so the number doesn't
the
change.
It's
right,
like
we watched all 4 Indiana Jones. That's okay. That's 4 up at the same time.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to say before we jump into our main topic, which I don't know if we mentioned it, is like going over all of the summer 2023 movies that have come out, because it's summer movies. There are a lot that we haven't gotten to talk about just because how the schedule played out, or ones that we've saved talking about because we knew we were doing this episode. But something I want to say before, and it'll come up again later when I talk about one of the movies I've seen, is recently another contributing factor to being so burned out on watching movies is just this sense of defeatism, I guess, when it comes to movies as a whole. Because for me, it's been very difficult to look at the movies that are coming out and then be hopeful about movies. Like, it's really hard when all of my like most anticipated movies for the year came out by May. Like, May and before that was all like my hype, like the Demon Slayer movie, Suzume, Mario movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, Love is War, Sword Art Online, like all these movies that I was really looking forward to, all front loaded to the beginning of this year. And then you get to the second half of this year, which is just like really not great summer movies. Everyone's on strike, so it seems like Hollywood in general is just kind of falling apart and we're not going to get any movies. And it's just felt very hopeless. And like, it's hard to get excited about movies when the type of movies that I used to get excited for, like Disney movies, always review poorly, usually are bad. Like it's, and then you go back and watch old movies and you're like, this is great, but I want this now. Like I watched Anastasia recently and that movie was really good. It was very like traditional Disney style movie where it's a musical and you have the girl and then they fall in love and then the villain whose color is the lime green. And it's like, okay, cool. I want that now. Like I want new movies that
I
are
want to see
like
that
this,
in the theater. Right.
that are entertaining. And that's another part of it is a lot of movies now I feel like I'm going into being preached to about some agenda on either side. It doesn't matter if you're left, right, center, whatever. Somebody's always pushing some kind of agenda. And I don't like that because movies are meant to be an escape. They're meant to distract me from the problems of the real world, not remind me that these are things happening in our real world. There are ways to work that in, but it should never be so overt that I feel like I'm being preached to. And there are a lot of movies that do that. Like Indiana Jones, I kind of felt like, I don't know, it was sending a certain message. Barbie was also sending a certain message. And it's like, I just want to be entertained. And there were only, I'll say 3 movies this summer that entertained me, that didn't feel like they were pushing an agenda or preaching at all. And one of them happens to be the first one that we're going to talk about, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Which, if you've listened to the podcast, you know I was very excited about because it came out on my 21st birthday. I was there, but in seat, May 5th, 2023. I don't know. How'd you feel about Guardians 3?
So,
by the way, real quick, full spoilers for all the movies we're talking about.
Yes.
There will be timestamps in the description. So if you haven't seen a movie, you can skip over it to the next one.
Yes.
But we are going to go full spoilers.
Yes. On all of them. They will all be full spoilers. So, anyway.
Continue.
Guardians 3 was one that Marvel movies don't get me excited anymore. I'm going to say that. And I don't think that's a hot take. I think a lot of people are like that. And so I was kind of like, all right, if they screw up Guardians, it's over. Like, I will never trust Marvel again if my favorite, like the best Marvel franchise, dare I say, is bad. If it ends poorly, it's over for them. Like, they lose my business. So I went in, and when I went and saw it in the theater, it was kind of on a whim. We were just kind of hanging out one night. We're like, well, what do you want to do? Like, I don't know. We're like, well, we could catch Guardians. And so we just kind of like packed up and left and like ran over there and got there. And honestly, it has stayed in my top 3 for the year since I saw it.
Same.
And I need to watch it again. I know it's on Disney Plus now. I kind of want the Blu-ray. I'm back and forth.
As a physical collector and a completionist, I have to get the Blu-ray because I have the other 2 on Blu-ray. And I'm like, I kind of owe it to myself to have all 3. So I'll get it eventually. I might wait till closer to Black Friday when they do a bunch of sales and go get the Blu-rays from the year that I'm missing. But I am going to get it at some point.
Yeah. I feel like I kind of forgot about how good Guardians 3 is because it was like kind of earlier in the summer and I was like, oh, yeah, I guess, whatever. But, man, that's a good movie. And it just broke my heart. That movie destroyed me, and it stayed in my top 3 for the year. And every time I rank a new movie on my Letterboxd, I'm like, oh, yeah, Guardians 3 came out this summer. That's a good movie. I'm like, let me move that up. That's a good movie.
Let me bump that sucker up.
That's what I'll say. I need to watch it again because I saw it the one time. And I loved it, but I don't think I picked up on everything. So I need to watch it again. It's been a hot second, but how about you? What do you think? And I'm pretty sure we're pretty equal-minded on this one, but I want to know what you think.
We are. I have a lot of good things to say about this movie, but I also have some, like, not glaring, but almost glaringly bad things to say about it.
Dang, okay.
And I'll start by saying it's not my favorite in the trilogy. It is a
It's not mine
really
either.
good movie. I still think the second one is my favorite in the entire trilogy. And that's real. It's really hard for me to choose between the first one and the second one because I like the first one from a soundtrack perspective.
Dude,
I think the soundtrack
peak. My children will be listening to the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. The first one.
See, my mom didn't know that, but if she did, I'm sure she would have thought the same thing.
No, yeah.
My kids will be listening to this music from Guardians of the Galaxy.
So, okay, rank the 3 soundtracks.
3 soundtracks. 1, 3, 2. 3 because
that's what I meant too.
They actually started getting to music that I knew, like that I grew up with, especially the song at the very end. I remember when that song was on the radio.
Said the dog days are over.
So
such a good song.
That's not how I would rate the movies. I would say the movies is 2, 1, 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say, and it's like comparing masterpieces, dude. It's not like 3 is bad, so it's at the bottom of the list. No, it was really good. They did a really good job finalizing everyone's story. I think they did a really good job of finding a way to have Gamora involved, but not like wipe away what happened in Infinity War and Endgame and just make her the same Gamora. Because I was worried that's what they were gonna do, is like find a way to reshape and like just remold her back into this character that we used to have. But it's kind of like a getting over it for Peter. Like that's his
absolutely.
character arc is like, no, she's not the same Gamora. She looks the same, sounds the same, like all of these things are the same, but she's not. She's a very different person because of how things played out. And you have to let that go and move on so that you can be happy. And I really appreciated that they didn't just, because that's very typical. Not that
Very
it was a
typical
multiverse
Marvel, like,
thing.
The multiverse, Gamora's alive. Oh my gosh.
Because remember, it's not
Stop.
multiverse Gamora. It's time travel Gamora.
Right.
Because, like, of the weird time travel between Endgame. So it's not like, oh, we just plucked her from another multiverse, which, again, Guardians had nothing to do with the multiverse. Thank God. It was so much of a better movie for it.
They need to ditch the multiverse.
Let it go.
I know that they're like too deep in at this point to
They're
stop.
in the multiverse
but
saga.
I'm like, oh my gosh, stop. Who cares anymore? And they're like making everyone like, oh my gosh, this person was a Skrull the whole time. And I was like, way to ruin your good movies while making bad ones. Like, thanks for nothing. So
Secret Invasion is very bad. I haven't watched it. The one bad thing I want to say about Guardians is, and they did this multiple times, and I didn't like it, is they faked out deaths multiple times to get the emotional resonance out of you, but not have the consequences. Like what?
Yeah.
At the very beginning, it's Groot, and then when they're in the like the space thing, it's Drax, and then Rocket, which I think is the big one that they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then Star-Lord at the very end. But here's the issue with that is if you do Groot and Drax before you get to Rocket, by the like you've already set my expectation of no one's actually going to die. Because Groot, he was fine. Drax, he was fine. Even though Drax specifically was shot and edited to make you think he was dying. They did the slow motion, shot in the back, like sacrificing himself so that you could leave. And then he falls down and like Mantis is holding him like he's dead. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, oh yeah, just slap on some of those medical things and I'm totally fine.
He's good. Give him
And
a
then
med
call it a
mist
day.
and he's fine. Like,
And I'm like, no, you needed to kill him. So
Yeah.
now you've got 2 fake deaths. By the time you get to Rocket's death,
You're like, he's
death,
not dead.
air quote,
There's no way. Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's not dead. They're going to find a
Yeah.
way. Like, they're going to find some way to revive him because you've now set that expectation in my head. So I think they needed to actually kill. Like, nobody actually died in this movie. I think they needed to actually kill someone.
I can agree with that. I don't know who they could have actually killed because I don't know who I would have want to die, because I don't want any of them to die, because Gamora already died. And I'm like, okay, that was good. That was valid. They let her die, and it was a key point of the story. Great. I'm like, I'm okay. Like, maybe you don't need to fake the deaths in the first place. So
Right, like maybe don't fake them. There's a difference between gravely injuring your characters and then having them get up and recover from that, and framing it like they're dead.
Right.
You can
that
have
is what they're doing.
Oh my
They're like,
gosh,
oh, did you
I
die?
feel so scared for Drax and Groot
Yeah.
and Star-Lord. Star-Lord should have died. Like,
Disagree.
I'm just going to... Listen. No. Okay,
Disagree.
hold on. I don't mean that in like, oh, I think he should have stayed dead. I think in the circumstance he was in, right? Freezing off in space, bloating up, he should have died.
He absolutely
Realistically, he should have died.
Even
there
within
should
their
have been no
canon,
coming back from that.
within their canon, within their universe, he should have died.
Yes.
But they're like,
So the fact that you survived is kind of weird.
Survived. It's like, okay, well, I'm glad he
think-
didn't die, but also like, what the heck?
It would be very hard to say who should have died, because by the time you get to the end of the movie, everyone's kind of found their place, except for
Right.
Mantis. Mantis is kind of open-ended, and so is Peter to an extent, because he's now back on Earth with his family. And I know it said at the very end, Star-Lord will return, so what
That's
that
what they
means,
said.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried because it wouldn't be James Gunn doing it, because he's already said that he's done with the Guardians.
He's done because he's focusing more on DC now.
So I'm kind of like,
So-
I don't know how I feel about that.
Guys, I don't know about this one.
The only
They're like Tom Cruise, and I'm like, you're done.
the only people who actually died were Rocket's friends, and that hurt.
That hurt.
That hurt
brother.
me
That
emotionally.
hurt. Oh
I
my
took that.
gosh.
I felt
Oh
those
my
screams.
gosh.
Like, I know it's a meme of Little Rocket screaming. No, I get it.
No, I get it.
Like,
that hurts.
he just
Oh my
like me
gosh.
for real.
This movie, this was the saddest one. It really is. But I would also say, I think it was the funniest of the three. I think
yeah.
it was the
They
most
also
laugh
had
out
that-
loud funny.
Also had that expertly placed F-bomb.
Yes.
was
Oh my
perfect.
gosh.
It
10
was
out
so
of 10.
good.
Perfect. Not saying we should allow F-bombs in Marvel movies, but that was perfect.
No,
that was
but
10
like-
out of 10.
James Gunn was like, okay, PG-13, I get one F-bomb. Okay.
Right, and he chose
And then
the
he
best
made it work.
place. Yeah,
And I was
no,
like,
he
yeah,
chose the best
that
spot
was
to
good.
put it. So that was really good. Overall, I like Guardians 3. My ranking though, I think is 1, 3, 2.
Really?
2 is my least favorite of all
Really?
of them. It gets really like the world like mending stuff gets kind of lost on me, and so I need to rewatch all of them. Honestly, I kind of want to go through all of them again now that they're all out and just do them in sequence. Because when I've seen the first one 100 times. The second
too.
one I saw once, and then the third one I saw once. So I'm like, I don't know if I can accurately rank these because I like need to watch them in succession.
Yeah.
So that's
Before we
what's
move
up.
on,
Yeah.
because our consensus is like Guardians 3, very good. Best Marvel, I would argue, best Marvel movie they've put out in a long time.
I don't have anything else to
Like-
compare it to.
What they released last year? Black Panther, Thor, Doctor Strange, and was that it? And a bunch
Yeah.
of TV shows. And then the year before that, 2021, was, geez, I don't even remember. Eternals, No Way Home. Yeah, it's been so long I don't even remember.
Yeah.
See, best they've put out in recent
best
history.
put out in a long time, and I think that's all because of James Timothy Gunn.
James
So,
Gunn, baby, he knows what he's doing.
I totally made up his middle name, so if
But
if
now
that's
they
not his
can't
middle name,
rely. Now they can't rely on the Guardians to be easy. Is that
well, they
I think
tried,
the- I
dude.
think the
They tried.
Guardians are the last.
The last of the original cast.
Yeah, like now we're on to purely new people.
Air quote new people.
Yeah,
Which
air quote,
I
new
kind of like
people.
the new Guardians though. I
I
feel
think
like
it's cool. I don't know if it'd work for a full movie, but I would totally watch like a mini series
Yeah.
of them going
That's what I was
around.
going to say. Is I was like, if they just did like something funny and they like tried to do something silly, I was like, oh, it's a moment. I like it. Why not?
Do like a Keeping Up with the Guardians type series where we go around. Every
that'd be
episode is
so
about where
good.
everyone's at now. Oh, that'd be great.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So
They tried. They tried to throw the Guardians in Thor: Love and Thunder, and it didn't work. So
that was the best part of Thor: Love and Thunder. What are you talking about?
all right.
Here's what I want to do.
Yeah.
For each of these movies, pull out your letterbox list. I want to know
All right.
where it's ranked.
Where it's ranked.
All right. For me, Guardians 3 is number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
For me, Guardians 3 is also number 2.
Nice.
So I'm not
For
going to
reference, my number 1 is Kaguya-sama Love is War, The First Kiss Never Ends, much like that title.
Wow.
Listen, you understand the peak fiction, right? Now imagine
Yeah.
3 seasons being culminated in a movie. Dude, peak fiction.
Now,
what can
here's
I say?
the thing. I'm not going to tell you my number 1. I need to save that for the end of the year. I'm not going to tell you any of my other rankings except for these movies. Guardians is number 2.
Oh, what? I know what your number 1 is. I think.
I literally send you pictures of my ranking list like every week.
I know. How do I not know this? It's
my number 1
I'll
is
ask
John
you
Wick 4.
after.
It's John Wick
Oh,
4.
oh, that's what,
Yeah, of course.
I was like, of course I know what it is.
is. Yeah, so Guardians is 2. The next one I haven't seen, so you go ahead and
Oh,
have your little
is it
moment with that.
Transformers?
Yeah. I haven't seen
okay.
that, so go.
Transformers
say
was
whatever you'd like.
I don't have much to say about it. Transformers was really good for a Transformers movie. It was very enjoyable. The humans felt like they weren't just kind of a nuisance as they are in most Transformers movies. The action was really solid, which honestly, as long as the action's good, I don't really care about the rest of the movie because I'm just here to see giant robots punch each other and stab each other and all this stuff.
Kaboom.
I really liked Anthony Ramos as a protagonist. I thought he did a great job acting. How they're going to tie in G.I. Joe to Transformers?
Yeah, that was the only thing I've heard about it is they're like, G.I. Joe? And I was like, not the Hasbro toy universe, guys.
I'm
like,
not
this
entirely
isn't-
sure.
guys, I think
that's
Mattel
gonna
already
play
has
out.
you beat on that one.
So,
Yikes.
I mean, I don't have a ton to say about it. It was enjoyable. Will I buy it on DVD? Probably not, unless it's like a Black Friday buy one get one free, and I need one more to get the free. Like, that's kind of how I
That is
justify.
a weirdly specific situation.
Like, that's
this a common
how I
occurrence?
decide if I like a movie or not. Is whether or not I'd buy it on DVD.
Yeah, no, that's so valid.
Anything in my top 10 for the year usually will buy on DVD.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that is kind of like up in the air depending on how much it costs.
Yeah.
So Transformers
based.
for me, number 11.
Just outside.
Just outside.
Ah,
Got beat
so
out by
close.
Sound of Freedom, which I've talked about before. But I considered switching them. I've said Sound of Freedom's a hard movie
Right.
to rank
it's
just
not
because of the source material. Or not,
Right.
like the topic.
the topic. You're not going to be like, oh, hey guys, thanks for coming over. What should we turn on? Sound of Freedom? Okay.
Let's
It's
go.
oh, way to kill the mood. So,
All right.
our next movie from the summer this is going to be spicy. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Is it spicy? We're both on the same page here. It was bad.
No, not spicy between us. Anytime we talk bad about Indiana Jones, I've gotten attacked. And
Oh,
so,
yeah. Hey, to everyone who's like, well, it's a nostalgia fest. Shut up.
Shut
you
up.
didn't like the sequel trilogy because they did the exact same thing. But because this is Indiana Jones where you like it and you're more partial to it, it's okay. Shut up. The nostalgia was the worst part about this movie. I'll be honest. Actually, that's a lie. Phoebe Waller-Bridge was the worst part of this movie. Allow me to correct. She was the worst part of this
I
movie.
think that's such a common opinion too. It's like
She turned. Actually, I don't know because I've read some of the reviews, and everyone's like, this movie is so much better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Shut up! You are lying to yourself and everyone else who makes reviews. That is not true. You can't watch Dial of Destiny and tell me that is better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. There's no freaking way.
I would watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull over Dial of Destiny.
I can't wait for the revisionist history like 5 years from now when like we've distanced ourselves from the initial release and everyone's like, oh, well, actually,
Was it that good?
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is not that bad.
It's not that
and I'm
bad.
like, oh.
Oh, now you're the normal people are crazy in a crazy world. Anyway,
I'm gonna read my Indiana Jones Letterboxd review real quick.
So, Dial of Destiny for me, my main point was I was like, it's just boring. It's just I also need to pull up my review. It's just boring. And here's the thing. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. I don't know if there's an Indiana Jones outside of Harrison Ford. But also,
I think they could do it.
I mean, they tried with like Shia LaBeouf.
No, okay, no. Okay, hold on. That's different because they billed Shia LaBeouf as his son. They did not bill him as a new Indiana Jones. That'd be like saying, "Oh, John Wick has a kid, so we're gonna make him the next John Wick." No. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
If you rebooted the Indiana Jones franchise, I mean, hey, why don't we just go exactly what they did in the 70s and 80s? Where they just took whoever was playing Han Solo at the time and made him Indiana Jones.
Right.
Let's just make Alden Ehrenreich the new Indiana Jones.
That's what I'm saying.
So he can be Han Solo and Indiana Jones. This is like a thing that just keeps happening.
I didn't log Dial of Destiny on either of my lists.
Wait, so like you haven't ranked it yet?
No.
Oh.
Must have just
I
forgotten.
definitely ranked it. I can tell you that.
Well, my review, I said, characters were flat. Directing was okay at best. Nothing happened. We undid everything the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull did just to spend 2.5 hours to get right back to where we started. It's just a 2.5 hour chase scene. Time travel is stupid. Harrison Ford is too old. 2 stars. 1 star because I've seen worse. 2 stars for Antonio Banderas. I'd rather watch The Little Mermaid. That's my review of Dial of Destiny.
Oh, do you want to talk about Little Mermaid? I forgot that's a song.
Oh,
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, we can put it on there. I don't know.
We can talk about that one after Indiana Jones. So here's my Indiana Jones review from Letterboxd. There is absolutely no way Steven Spielberg watched this and said it was good without Kathleen Kennedy holding a gun to his head. All the characters suck, Helena especially, and it felt like there was no reason for Indy to be involved at all. I also don't love that he's divorced, only for it to be resolved by the end of the movie. Yep. Shout out to Disney for yet again ruining a childhood favorite in search of more money.
Dang.
I gave it 1 star.
I said 2 because I've seen worse.
There's
and
only
Antonio
like 2
Banderas
other
was in
movies on my Letterboxd that have 1 star. And it's like
dang.
The Little Mermaid 2.
Listen, here's the thing. I don't like people defending Dial of Destiny because things are opinionated. That's okay. You're allowed to like it if you want. And the big argument is, oh, but if you didn't grow up with Indiana Jones, you don't know it. And
I sure did.
Here's the thing. I didn't. I watched most of the Indiana Jones movies for the first time when we did our podcast about it. But if I feel like the sign of you have to be so incredibly invested in Indiana Jones to look past how horrible it is, that's not a good movie. Like, stop saying that it's a good movie because you're invested in it. Like, objectively speaking, this is bad. You can like it if you want and say, oh, I just like Indiana Jones. That's fine. I don't care if you like it just because you like Indiana Jones. But don't argue with me and say, oh, but this is a good movie. No, the story is garbage. Harrison Ford, love him. I love Harrison Ford. He was too old to do the action that they wanted to do in that movie. And to remedy that, he needed a partner that could like fill those shoes. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge was not the choice. She's not like an action actor. And so like
she's not a good actor.
I don't know. I hated this movie. And I walked out of the theater, ran into someone I know, and he said, hey, what are you here to see? And it's like, we just saw Dial of Destiny. And he said, oh, we're about to go see it. How is it? And I didn't have the heart to tell him that I really hated it. And he said, and I was like, it's pretty good. And then the next time I saw him, I said, hey, how was Indiana Jones? And he said, man, I really hated it. And I
It's like,
was
oh,
like,
good. I can be honest
no,
with
I
you
did
now.
too. I just couldn't like sway your opinion right before you saw the movie. He said, I didn't even have to pee. I got up 3 times because I was going to fall asleep.
I
like, that's so sad.
legitimately, like, the most interesting part of the movie was the first part where
Yep.
he was, like, on the train.
Which,
That was it.
by the way, that intro sequence is 25 minutes long.
Is it?
Why? That entire intro sequence is almost 30 minutes of the movie.
30 minutes of a 2.5-hour movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2.5 hours. I was
Yeah.
bored after the first half hour, which
Yep.
says a lot because it's an adventure movie. I should not be bored on the adventure movie.
There was no
I
adventure.
My biggest issue was Helena didn't feel like she had a character arc. Because she was consistently betraying and undermining Indy the entire movie.
Mhm.
And I didn't like her whole, like, oh, you're an old man, therefore I know more than you and I'm smarter, so do it this way.
Mhm.
Like, it just didn't come off very well. And I get it, like, if you want to do the whole new generation passing the torch, that's fine.
Mhm.
But also,
Yeah.
maybe don't, like,
Also, maybe
Kingdom
don't.
of the Crystal Skull had a very good ending where, like, he's reunited with his son, married to the love of
Right.
his life. He's like, that was his last big adventure, ready to hang up the hat and call it a
Right.
day. And now he's like an 80-year-old disgraced college professor who's
Yeah.
divorced because his son died?
Yeah, and it was like their fault? I don't know. I don't like this trend, and Star Wars did this too, and it's part of the reason I hate
Oh my
sequel
gosh, you're
trilogy,
so right!
where they're like, what if we took our main character and made him really, really sad and destroyed his
no.
life, and you got
You're
to watch
so
it?
right.
Yeah. They did that to Luke
They did the
Skywalker.
exact same thing
Yeah.
to Han Solo. He
And-
gets
and Luke
divorced. He gets
Skywalker.
divorced from the love of his life because something tragic happened to their son.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Harrison Ford is cashing in.
And then he finds a new female counterpart who's a sidekick who he looks at like a daughter. Oh my god.
Yep. Yep.
You know
Yep.
what the common trend between those two movies are? Kathleen Kennedy was involved.
Oh my gosh. This
Got
goes
him.
so deep. This goes so deep. I
If
feel
we
like
can get
between-
Kathleen Kennedy out of Lucasfilm, these movies will be a lot better.
between
I'm just saying.
between Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Indiana Jones, I feel like we need to acknowledge that we don't want to see our childhood favorites in like down in the dumps. Like, why couldn't
Okay.
he have stayed married? And
This
like
is a
we're just
conversation
why can't
for
we
a
just
different...
why can't we just check in on Indiana Jones when he's on like just on his game and she's like, yo, let's do this adventure, and he's like, I don't know, I'm too old, but then his wife is like, no, you should, and he's like, all right, but like that would be so much
Okay.
more fun.
This is a conversation for a different podcast episode.
Oh,
I will
gosh.
defend the decisions they made with Luke Skywalker till the day I die.
Stop, that's not true.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I will. It may.
No.
How else is he supposed to react to his life's work being burned down?
His life's work should have never
And
been
his
burned down.
His nephew, bro. His nephew turning evil, just like his dad did. And he tried to save him like he did with his dad, and then he didn't.
I don't think
How
they
else
should
is he
have done-
supposed to react?
No, that's a valid reaction, but none of that should have happened in the first place. So
No,
like, what
you're
are we
totally
doing?
right. The sequels shouldn't have happened.
He had
We
a
can
valid,
agree on that.
He had a valid reaction to an event that should have never happened.
No,
that
I
is
get
what I
that.
will say. So,
I get that.
and
but-
if you like Dial of Destiny, that's okay. You can like Dial of Destiny if you want. You like if it gives you that nostalgia buzz, sure, that's fine. Go for it. I'm glad that you like that, but as someone that didn't grow up with it, I don't feel that. And so I feel like I just have to look at it like an adventure movie, and it's a bad adventure movie. That's what I'm going to say.
I
And-
rated this movie 24 out of 24.
Really?
Yep.
This is 16 out of 17.
I put it lower than the Amazon Prime original with Alison Brie, where she tries to like get this guy out of his marriage.
Forgot about
Because
that
at
movie.
least that movie while I don't condone the actions of Allison Brie, and I will acknowledge she is really hot anyway, at least that movie was funny. And it had some semblance of depth.
Yeah.
Where Danny Pudi was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this thing. And she was like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And then she suffers the consequences of those actions.
Yeah.
But at least that movie was funny.
Yeah.
Dial of Destiny.
Dial of Destiny. They like go like into like BC, and he's like, let me just stay here. And I'm like,
and die.
What the frick?
That's
Why
the only
does he
thing.
want to stay here?
That's the only thing that
dumbest
Helena
thing
did
ever.
in the entire movie where I actually applauded her for
Where I
just
was like,
knocking him
thanks.
out and taking him back in the future. And I'm
right,
like, okay.
because that
Good.
like I also feel like that was out of character for Indiana Jones. I was like, you're so much smarter
Yeah.
than this. You know this is a horrible idea. Like, why? I don't know. The only movie below this movie for me that I've seen that's new this year is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Oh, bro, I put Quantumania 2 above Indiana Jones because, again, at least that movie was interesting and funny. Was it
No,
bad?
it
Yes.
wasn't.
But it was interesting and it was funny.
I would watch Dial of Destiny over Quantumania again. I feel
I would not.
traumatized by Quantumania. I hated that movie so much. It sent one
watched
of my
it.
roommates to the ER. He had like
That's
heart
unrelated.
palpitations. We like to
Unrelated
say it was
to the
because of the
movie.
movie. We like to say, man, the movie was too good. He went to the hospital. Oh gosh. All
The
right.
CGI killed him.
Well, drink the ooze. Drink the ooze. Do we?
All right.
No, that didn't. All right. So
Little
next
Mermaid.
one,
Go over it briefly.
Little Mermaid. You saw it, right?
Nope. I'm
Oh,
waiting for them
okay.
to add it to Disney Plus. They still haven't done it yet.
Why did Guardians go to Disney Plus before the Little Mermaid? Anyway.
Because it came out before The Little Mermaid. Like, they should add The Little
Really?
Mermaid by the end of the month.
Oh, interesting. Well,
If they
Little
keep the
Mermaid,
schedule.
honestly, it's a live action. It's one of the better live action.
Oh, never
Disney
mind.
movies
I
that
lied.
I've
It's
seen.
coming to Disney Plus September 6th.
Oh, sick.
They
I don't
ju-
even
they
remember
must
if I
have
wrote a
just
review
updated
for that. Did I write a review for that?
I haven't seen it, but I'm going to watch it just so I can have an opinion.
I honestly...
I'm also somewhat intrigued because, like, based on your review that you told me after you saw it,
Yeah.
I was
My
very
review-
interested.
I watched it June 1st, so I don't remember my review. I wrote, was an enjoyable watch with a great vibe, but it didn't have anything to remember it by, and the music was awful. I
Yes.
feel like The Little Mermaid is a musical.
Yeah.
It thrives off of that music, and the music was bad quality. It's like Under the Sea is like their grand opening song, and it's like supposed to be sung by like a huge choir and like a huge group, and they had like 2 people sing it. And I was like, why? This is a bad decision. And Aquafina was in it, which was a bad decision. Dude, Scuttlebutt is such an atrocious song. Oh my gosh. I was crying laughing in the theater. I was laughing so hard. I was like, dude, where am I right now? And I would watch it over Dial of Destiny any day.
I would too. I would
Is that
listen.
bad?
I've heard Scuttlebutt.
Oh.
I would rather listen to that
Dude.
for like 2.5 hours consistently
It's like, oh my
than watch
gosh.
Dial of Destiny again.
Lin-Manuel Miranda has lived long enough to see himself become the villain. Like, he's really, man. it's so
Also, the
funny.
live action remakes just they aren't hitting anymore.
No, they don't hit. After, I would say that my favorite live action remake is Beauty and the Beast.
True.
And then
So true.
I guess Aladdin.
I think we should do a live action remake tier list
We need
one
to
day.
do a tier list. I also need to catch up because I haven't seen Pinocchio. I've never
That's
seen
true.
the Cinderella one, which is the
Oh,
original.
dude.
I've heard that
Cinderella?
was really good.
I don't know. Might be better than Beauty and the Beast. It's been
That's
a
what
while
I've
since I've
heard.
seen it, but it's actually really good.
Back when they cared.
Like, that's the
Yeah.
problem, is when they started doing these live action remakes, they started off really good. And then they
Yeah.
decreased the quality with each one to see how little effort they can put in and still make the most amount of money. It's like a
Yeah.
pie chart. Or not a pie chart. It's like a graph.
Like a
Where they're
graph.
like, how little effort for maximized profit.
For max profit.
Like, what's the perfect middle point?
What's the perfect
And I
middle
think
point?
they found that middle point with Aladdin.
Yep. They were like,
but they've continually gone down from there.
Yeah, they're like, how much like a we are this close to just making Disney Channel original movies again.
Actually, wait,
like,
correction. It was the live-action Lion King. That's
no,
the
you're
medium,
so right.
Where they
They're
did
so right.
absolutely nothing new, but they still made $1 billion.
Yeah, that is, oh my gosh, I hate that so much. So, another movie I saw this year that I actually am excited to talk about was Wes Anderson's Asteroid City.
Mid.
Tell me what you think of Asteroid City.
Okay. I had to kind of change my perspective going into it because I knew it was a Wes Anderson film.
Right.
And it wasn't going to be like your typical, like just standard movie.
This is the narrative. It's more like this is kind of a vibe. Like you're figuring it out.
Looking back, I don't know if it deserves to be as high on my list as it is, but it is. Nice. I enjoyed it. What's interesting is I went from seeing Dial of Destiny, which was really bad, to a movie that I actually somewhat enjoyed and had a decent time with. And there were some parts of Asteroid City where I was just cackling in the theater by myself. It was me and like this grandma and her teenage granddaughter, and the movie started a half hour late because I think they forgot we were in the theater. But
classic.
It was good. It was enjoyable. The thing I appreciate most about it is the way that it was shot and the way it was filmed, because it definitely feels like instead of building a set for what the camera would see, I don't know if they did this or not, but instead of building it for what the camera sees, it feels like they actually built that entire town and they just put the camera in the middle of it. Yep. So in the beginning, when they are like just shifting from the 4 different angles, it feels like they're actually turning the camera 4 different ways. And I really appreciate that because I think a lot of movies nowadays overuse CGI.
Yeah.
And I like seeing more practical stuff. Even like the train at the very beginning. I could tell that was practical.
That's a miniature.
And I was like, yes. Thank you.
I also think Wes Anderson is kind of brilliant in the sense of he knows that we can see through crappy visual effects and knows that it's better to do intentionally simple stop motion instead of okay CGI. Because that alien in Asteroid City is a stop claymation. It is like, because he's incredible at stop motion. I'm just gonna say that. Isle of Dogs, Fantastic Mr. Fox, incredible movies. So he's so good at that, and I'm really glad that he's still incorporating like that mixed medium. Really creative, but he understands that we would rather be like, oh, it was an intentional choice to have that as claymation, other than, oh, you tried to make this look real and it kind of sucks. And that's brilliant. He knows what he's doing. Overall, it's a confusing movie. Asteroid City is the name of a fictional play, and while learning the story of the fictional play, you watch the play out. And the play itself is the same event from 8 different perspectives. So, it's a lot to follow. And that's why I want to watch it again, because I'm sure I would pick up on a lot of stuff that I didn't the first time. But man, the cast is incredibly stacked.
Oh yeah.
Asteroid City's good. I just wish there was more celebrities in it. Like it just has Jeff Goldblum and,
Steve Carell,
Bill
Scarlett
Murray, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, Tom Hanks, Willem Dafoe. Like, the list goes on. Maya Hawke, like, the list just goes on. And Wes Anderson is at that point where it's kind of an honor to be in his films. And so it's like, kind of like back in the day when like Marvel was at its peak and it was like, guess who's joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Like it's a Fortnite collab. Yeah. And so now I feel like Wes Anderson and Christopher Nolan are the 2 directors. Like if they ask you, you say yes. And so that's kind of interesting. But Asteroid City overall, I thought it was very enjoyable. It's very artsy. Like it's Wes Anderson. That's the vibe. And I just like him as a director. So I really enjoyed it. And I think I ranked it. Let me go back to my list. I ranked it number 5 on my list.
Did you say where you ranked The Little Mermaid?
No, I didn't. So Dial of Destiny is 16. Little Mermaid is 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Asteroid City is
number 5. Yep.
Asteroid City for me is 16.
Out of like 24 though.
Out of 24.
That's not bad.
So it's
you're
a
also
little
not
under
like
halfway.
invested. You're not as invested in the Wes Anderson narrative as
No.
I am. And so, it's also
Still,
like
I thought Dungeons and Dragons was better though.
I disagree. Like Dungeons and Dragons is on here for me, but it's number 9. So like,
broke top 10. That's cool.
Yeah. My right outside of Mario made my top 10, but Cocaine Bear is 11.
Yeah!
That's where I draw the line. Oh, all right.
What's the next one? Is it?
Are you ready? Ready
time
to
for
be
the big one?
spicy? Ready to get spicy? All right, guys.
Wait.
All right.
I'm assuming the next one's Barbie, right?
Yes.
Do you want to start with Oppenheimer since I haven't seen that one?
Yeah, I'll do Oppenheimer real quick because
I didn't get a chance to see it. I know you were supposed to do like the back-to-back, but as I said in a previous episode, my back-to-back of depression to fun was Sound of Freedom to Barbie, and I haven't gotten a chance to see a 3-hour political bomb movie yet. So,
So, Oppenheimer, what I will say is it is a masterclass in directing, editing, acting, lighting, practical VFX. Phenomenally well put together movie. I feel so bad for the editors of Oppenheimer. The same location is not kept for longer than 60 seconds through all the 3 hours of that movie.
so it's a TikTok movie.
You would think that, but no, it's the opposite of a TikTok movie, meaning you need the longest attention span in America to stay dialed in. So, what I will say about Oppenheimer is it's phenomenally well executed, and I was interested to see how Christopher Nolan was gonna take a true story, because he's usually more about like the narrative, where he can kind of twist and do whatever he wants and add like all the twists and turns, except for Dunkirk, which Dunkirk is a great movie, and that's a true story. So I was excited for Oppenheimer. I honestly can tell you I watched the trailer for Oppenheimer one time, and it was when I was in the theater to watch something else. So the only thing is, if you're not into 3-hour political dialogue movies, then you're not gonna like it, because it's like haha, bomb explosion, cool, hee hee, Oppenheimer, like kaboom, like that's great. I will tell you, since we're doing spoilers, the bomb goes off about 2 hours in. That's like the big building moment. 2 hours in, the bomb goes off, and the last hour is solid political discourse, like non-stop, like super snappy, like back and forth. And there has to be at least 50 characters in this movie, and their names are kind of hard to follow if you're stupid like me. And so it's just, what I'll say is it's a phenomenal, incredible piece of art that is exhausting, and I don't think I'll intentionally watch it again. I'm not going to be like, all right, guys, let me sit down and turn on Oppenheimer again, because I feel like there's other movies I'd rather watch with my time.
Right.
But it's a masterpiece. It truly is a masterpiece. I don't appreciate the nudity. It was unnecessary. It adds nothing to the story. There's literally, and it's kind of a meme, there's literally a scene where they're having a conversation, but they're just naked. Like, why? Literally, why? Like, this made no sense. It was kind of dumb. I feel like they could have gotten away with having none of that in it, honestly. But I've never seen a movie where nudity has added to the story.
Nope.
And so it's, I don't know if that's spicy opinion. There is not a single scenario I can think of where adding nudity to your movie makes it better. So I will leave you with that. Oppenheimer is phenomenal. I gave it 4 stars. If it didn't have that stuff in it, I would have said 5. So there you go. There's your Oppenheimer. I liked Barbie better, but just because...
Where'd you put it? Ranking wise.
The film bros are going to kill me. They're going to kill me.
What? You're assuming they haven't already killed us for having not seen The Godfather.
Literally. So it's number 8. And so it's...
What do you mean the film bros are going to kill you? It's still top 10.
I'm going to be like, Oppenheimer is number 1 on my book because Christopher Nolan is a cinematic genius, which
those aren't
he is.
Film bros. Those are Nolan
about
fans. There's a difference.
I'm just saying, I put Haunted Mansion above Oppenheimer.
I can't wait to talk about that. Oh. But before Haunted Mansion, we got to talk about what I think will go down in the general consensus is the movie of the summer.
Yeah.
Not for me personally.
It is.
But it kind of is. Like, I get it.
Culturally speaking, it is the movie of
the only other movie this year to cross $1 billion, by the way.
I think it's, I would say culturally, it's the movie of the year. It has to be.
I wish that wasn't true. I really do.
Okay. Here you go. You have the floor. Tell me about Barbie because we strongly disagree about Barbie.
I gave Barbie 2 stars. One of those stars was for I'm Just Ken. The other star was for Ken. And that's it.
Dang.
Here's the thing. For me, going into Barbie, I really tried to go in with an open mind. Because I did the same thing for Indiana Jones. And I'm trying to do this now with every movie I see. Is go in with a very open mind, especially if I've heard bad things about it, because I don't know, the critics have been wrong about a lot of movies. Critics said the Mario movie sucked, but it's my number 4 movie this year, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I try to go in with an open mind, despite hearing many people say, well, it's nothing but a bunch of woke nonsense and a bunch of garbage. And I'm like, well, are we surprised? Like,
right.
You guys are acting like this is brand new information. Like, what did you expect?
Like, Greta Gerwig is making a Barbie movie, and they're like, it's feminist, and I'm like, it's okay. The sky is blue. Like, what did you think the final scene was going to be? Right. Did you think the final scene was going to be Barbie realizing her true place was to make sandwiches for Ken? Like, no. This is it's going to be a little...
I don't know. They were trying to get there.
The patriarchy.
So, here's what I'll say. I'm going to preface this by saying I went in with an open mind, and something I didn't fully comprehend until after I'd seen the movie and I've kind of sat on it for like a month is this movie is not for me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's, by all means, by every definition of the word, this is a girl's movie.
Disagree.
Okay, here's the thing. It's a girl's movie that can be enjoyed by men.
Disagree.
Are you're telling me they didn't put Ken in the movie just so that guys would be entertained while they're going to see it with their girlfriends?
No. I think Barbie is a movie for humans. And it's a movie...
Okay, well, if you want to get philosophical...
I want to get philosophical. Barbie is a movie about the human condition. And while it is predominantly feminist, because it's Barbie, she's always been a feminist icon, I think that you're reading it wrong if you can't find something relatable about the movie. Because it's a movie searching for purpose. It's like, what am I made for? Why am I here? Which, you could make a sermon and point back to God and say, well, this is why. But listen, this is a movie about the human condition and how we struggle to find purpose and worth, and how, I don't know. It's not just men bad, women good. That's not what I read it as at all.
But that's how the movie was built.
No, it's
that's
not.
The problem.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. We did not watch the same movie. That's how the advertising was. That's how it's played off in the movie. Is Ken is always significantly less than Barbie because he's a Ken. And the only time something went wrong in Barbie Land is when the men actually started doing stuff.
It's also...
aside from just being there.
It's also...
I'm not saying it's a perfect system.
Right.
Okay? This is the thing. my biggest issue with Barbie is that it didn't try to find the middle ground that exists in society.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, men need women, women need men.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
It is not we can live in our Barbie feminist utopia and everything be perfect without the Kens. No. Like, but it's also things can't be perfect in the Kendom just because there's no Barbies there. Like, you need both for a society to function and flourish, and the movie didn't really try to find the middle ground.
Yeah.
They started to get there at the very end when the Kens are like, ooh, can we be judges or like Supreme Court judges? And they're like, well, you can start off as like minor circuit judges or whatever. And it's like, okay, I get that, but you've kind of just reset the status quo.
That is what I'll say, is I don't like the way it ended, where I felt like we made a lot of progress that got undid a little bit in the end, and I don't like that. But I think that the point... How do I want to say this? This is such like a hot button thing. Is I also noticed that when it was just the Barbies in charge, nothing got done. They didn't do anything. Everyone just kind of like lived their lives, whatever. And so they were like, oh, we need Kens, we need Barbies, we need both. And so it's like, you're right. They didn't find the middle ground that I was hoping they would get to, but I also took a lot of it out. Like I got a lot out of it. I was like, yeah, this is good. I feel like it was like a good step. But I guess that's not everyone agreed. I also, here's the thing. I really enjoyed Barbie, and I also went in thinking it was a joke. I was like, oh.
Well, I think if you go in that way, then that kind of changes the whole perspective
you were like,
of the movie.
Oh, this is like, it's just for fun. It's just for giggles. And then like partway through the movie, I was like, oh, I think they're serious.
They're taking this seriously.
Like, I think I was like trying to figure out if it was a satire or not. And I think where I landed was they were a lot of the things that they said, and even in her big speech about like women, and she was like, women do this and this and that, like you need to do this and that. And I've talked to like women in my life, my girlfriend, my mom's, like everyone, they're like, yeah, most of the things she said in that speech were really true. And they were like, yeah, this is accurate. And I was like, okay, I'm not in a position to say that's inaccurate because I'm not a woman. Like, that's not my place to speak. And so in that sense, sure, it wasn't meant for me. But I'm also like, I feel like I got something out of it. Even if it was just, haha, funny movie. Like, but I also got, like, I was like, this is really philosophical. And it really, like... It feels relatable, and I felt like kind of enlightened and like, oh, I thought it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. And, you know, partway through, even though I realized, oh, they're serious, like I thought this was a joke at first, I was like, you know what? Yeah, cool. I'm okay with this. This is fine. And, you know, even if it is for political reasons and they're like, women need this and that, like I can kind of push that in the corner and say, oh, Will Ferrell had a great performance. You know, Ryan Gosling will probably ironically get an Oscar for this movie. And so, I don't know. Like, Margot Robbie was great. The soundtrack was great. The visuals are stunning. Michael Cera is hilarious. The song is great. Like, I'm not going to let a mild political disagreement get in the way of me appreciating the work that was put into the movie. That's what I'm going to say.
See... I get that. I understand that. But for me personally, that was... Because it goes back to what I was saying about just wanting to be entertained.
Yeah.
Is it didn't feel like it was a purely for entertainment movie. It was made to get an idea across to a certain group of people, and I was not in that group, so therefore I felt alienated from the point. The part I related to most... was with Ken, which kind of that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the guys are supposed to relate to, which is ironic because they kind of spend the whole movie saying that you shouldn't be defined by your gender roles, but then guys find themselves gravitating more towards Ken, and girls find themselves gravitating more towards Barbie. It's almost like that's why they were made in the first place.
Okay.
Anyway, the stuff with Ken, I picked up on this really early on because it is something that is present today. Is like guys just want to be respected. Like I'm not saying guys should be respected for every single thing they do because both genders can mess up.
Right.
Like,
saying respect guys for this doesn't mean disrespect women. That is too
right. It does not
different.
mean hey, we needed to grade women for the sake of bettering guys. That was my problem with the movie. Is it felt very like we need to disrespect men to uplift women or vice versa, when in reality you can do both, because both men and women have very different roles in society, and they can, like, there are things that only women can do that men can't do, and we should uplift them for that, and vice versa. Like, the movie didn't find the middle ground, and Ken, at the end of the day, just wanted to be respected and get attention from the Barbies who weren't paying them any mind aside from, oh, look at that guy on the beach. Like, that's just Ken.
Yeah.
Like, even in the marketing, she's everything. He's just Ken.
Yeah.
So, from that sense, like, following Ken's journey of going to the real world and coming out of this, like, matriarchal society into the patriarchal society, and, like, I thought that was really funny when he's, like, going up the escalator and seeing all of the different, like, prominent male figures. And I like that they even threw in, like, Hitler and some of, like, the bad ones.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, let's acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Like, there have been bad
Some
men.
bad
like,
guys.
It's not all good people.
Yeah.
So there was that aspect. And like I said earlier, the movie does a really good job of showing that a fully female society and a fully male society does not work.
Yeah.
But they didn't make the connection that you need both of them to have a properly functioning society, because they even villainize the real world as like, well, it's run by all men, so therefore it's bad. And I'm like, okay, Greta Gerwig, a woman in a predominantly male-run industry, making a movie about a women's toy. I feel like you're not the right person to make this argument.
It's like, you feel this seems a little biased. I don't know.
It seems a little disingenuous because I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, that just doesn't feel right.
I also think, well, Barbie it was way more philosophical and introspective than I expected. And I'm not mad. I think they pulled it off. But I also think there's a point where I'm like, guys, it's the freaking Barbie movie. Calm down. I'm like, at what point, like, do we just say it's the Barbie movie? And they literally made it. They wrote the Barbie movie when COVID was huge and they didn't know if they'd ever get a movie back in theaters again. And they're like, well, this kind of sucks. And they're like, let's write a movie where if we ever get to put it in theaters, it will be the wildest ride of a lifetime. That's the point. The point is that it's insane. And so at some point, I'm of the opinion where I'm like, guys, don't overthink it. Like, it's the Barbie movie. Like, it's supposed to be like an acid trip. So, like, strip away all of the, like, retrospective and gender role, like, all of the politics of that, any of that. Set that aside and be like, how is this as a movie? Because that's what it is. It's a movie. How do we feel about it as a movie? And, like, the set pieces, the soundtrack, the acting, the directing, it's all phenomenal. And that's more where I'm coming from, is I'm like, this as a movie was a good movie to me. But I also think, and we've talked about this before, I don't think it's your style. I don't think it's your taste.
Oh,
because
we said we were going to talk about this.
We've talked about this, about how I don't think you like movies that are meant for adults.
No, I really don't.
In the sense of, like, you really just want to be entertained. You just want to be thrown a story. And while that's not, like, there is a huge demographic of people like that. Like, that's fine. But I'm also going to say, don't crap on the Barbie movie if it's just not for you. Because objectively speaking, it needs to be appreciated. Because it is beautiful. It's a beautiful movie.
Listen.
I'm
just Ken.
Anywhere
Best
else,
song in the entire
I'd
soundtrack.
be a 10.
Anywhere else, I'd be a 10.
Ugh.
I don't know.
I also don't think I don't know how to wrap this up because we're never really going to see eye to eye on this one.
No, we're never going to agree on this movie. That's the problem.
At some point, we just stop, which is like,
which is
fine. Like,
where did you rank it? What number?
That's the other thing is like we don't have to agree. Like usually, but it's so weird because usually, like we usually come to like a middle ground at some point. But this is one that we're just too far.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
But here, like, I don't think we're going to be on the same page.
This is just one that we just
I didn't like it.
Kind of disagree
I gave it
with.
2 stars and put it as 20 out of 24.
Did you guys just see what just happened? We disagreed about a movie, and we're still friends.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's almost like we can have a civil conversation about things we disagree on.
Yeah.
And not have to disown each other.
Wait.
Whoa!
Who was going to tell me this? Listen.
And we can still go play Fortnite after and be friends.
Literally.
Oh
wow.
my gosh.
Guys.
If only we could bring this type of civil conversation to the political sphere, our world would be a much better place.
Anyway, so she's 20 out of 24.
Correct.
Shut up.
Nope.
All right. Out of...
Right there. Wait, 20 out of 24.
8, out of 17 minus 6.
Wow.
6.
Almost broke top 5.
Almost top 5. I don't know. I enjoyed Asteroid City a little bit more.
Okay.
All right.
So we got 2 more. What order do you want to do these in?
3 more.
Oh, you're so right. I didn't see it because it bumped down to the next page. I feel like I need to do the one that I've seen
you need to go
because it reinforces the point that you just made about the type of movies that I like.
So Nick does not like movies meant for adults with introspective, deep thoughts that provoke and make you go, "Wow, that was interesting." Oh, okay. Nick would rather watch.
So let's talk about my movie of the summer.
His movie of the summer, which is Miraculous Ladybug, which is what was on
and Cat Noir,
the movie, whatever, which was on Disney Channel when I was getting my haircut this week. And I was like, here's the thing. So this place that I get my haircut, they have like 6 TVs in like a grid, and they're all in different channels. So it's just kind of like whatever. So they don't have to change the channel. You can watch whatever you want. And it was like some stupid like reality show on Bravo, and then like Fox News, and I was like whatever, and then it was like Pacific Rim and like Miraculous, and I was like, should I pretend to watch Pacific Rim or just watch Miraculous? like I gotta see what the hype is all about. So tell me about
we're gonna watch this movie.
Summer.
I'm gonna force you to watch.
Tell
this
me
movie
about
at
your
some
movie
point
of the summer
because I feel like you'd really like it. But
that's the thing is, I would like it, but it would not top these other movies for me.
I don't know. I feel like you're capping. But anyway, so the Miraculous Ladybug movie premiered on Netflix on July 28th. Okay? Here's the thing. It has been in production hell since 2015. Like, when the first season of the show blew up, they were like, by the way, we're making a good movie. Like, it's going to be really good. Like, we're going to make a movie. 8 years later, the movie finally comes out on Netflix. I'm kind of disappointed it didn't go to theaters because I feel like this movie would have been so nice to see on the giant movie screen with the surround sound because there was a lot of music. It's a musical, okay? And the music, the soundtrack freaking slaps, bro. Because here's the thing. It is the most traditional Disney-style movie we've gotten in the last few years, including movies from Disney, because it had the female lead who's got the male sidekick and they eventually fall in love, but it's also got musics. It's got music. It's got power ballads. It's got a villain song using the traditional lime green and purple. It has music that actually dynamically moves with what's going on screen. It's also animated. Like, animation is beautiful. But you might be thinking, that's all good and dandy. Why is that your movie of the summer? Let me condense and paraphrase the 12-minute voice message I sent Jackson the night after watching this movie. I had decent expectations going into it. It was honestly the movie I've been looking forward to the most this summer once Netflix dropped a date. All day on the 28th, I was like, all right, I'm going to go home and watch the Miraculous movie. And then I got home, ate dinner, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch the Miraculous movie. That movie had my full attention the entire time. I set my phone down on the bed. It wasn't even in my hand because the movie had my full attention. And I have not laughed or enjoyed a movie as much as I did this movie in a long time. A long time, maybe like the Mario movie. But the thing about it was another one of those like right place, right time movies, because before watching this, I was at the peak of Hollywood is Doomed. All these movies are like just, I haven't seen a single like really good movie this summer. Because even Across the Spider-Verse, like the longer I've gone since I've seen it, the lower it sits on my list.
Me too.
Because it got really high up because of the recency bias, and now it's like slowly tapering back down. So even like a movie that's a masterpiece is like ticking down. So I'm sitting here like, is this the end of movies? Are there any like good non-anime movies still coming out? And I was really worried about that. And then I watched this movie and I laughed. I got emotional. I was like invested. I just enjoyed it. And I felt entertained the entire like hour and a half or however long it is. I was entertained. I never felt like they were saying, well, Ladybug's actually a socialist, so she thinks you should do this thing. Or like, well, Cat Noir thinks that Ladybug's a woman, so therefore she cannot do things good. Therefore it equals bad. Like, none of that ever came up. It was just an entertaining, really good hour and a half, and it honestly restored my hope that movies can get better, and we can have an upswing despite having, I would argue 2023 is one of the worst years in movies, just in general.
Wow. I don't know. I'm looking at some bangers on this list from this year.
I mean, I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm just saying think about movies we've got this year versus movies we got last year. Or even the year before that.
Yeah.
Like, this has been a rough year.
Like, we barely had 2 movies that crossed $1 billion this year.
Yeah.
In, like, 2019, there was, like, 8.
For me to watch this movie and have my hope in movies somewhat restored, and also just be a really good movie that was a much better version of the story than the show will ever be. If you want to watch Miraculous, watch the hour and a half movie and call it a day. You'll get everything you want rather than watching a 5-season show. Is the show good? Depends on the day. It's watchable. But the movie was fantastic. And I honestly want to watch it again. I listen to the soundtrack daily.
Oh.
And I will watch it again by the end of the year. And I really, ultimately, am disappointed it didn't go to theaters because that means it won't get a DVD release. Because we know Netflix never releases any of their stuff on DVD. And I would buy this on DVD day one.
Interesting.
And it's just,
it sounds
such
like
a good movie.
It sounds like I need to watch it. And then really give...
Yeah.
I need to watch it and then give an actual... Like, I need to know if you're crazy. Because if you're crazy, then you're crazy. And you're
but
like...
if I'm right...
Because if I'm watching it, I'm like, this is a movie for babies. And it's like this and that. No. But I'm sure, like, you have yet to steer me wrong on a movie. Like, any of your recommendations have been good.
Exactly.
And so I'm like...
It's because I don't recommend you stuff I know you wouldn't like.
Right. Don't recommend your
We
friends
know
things
each
you
other
won't like.
well enough.
Right.
We know each other well enough that we know what we will and won't like.
Right.
So if I feel like you'll like it, I'll take the chance and say,
Yeah.
hey, you should watch this because I think you'll like it.
Yeah. All right. I need to watch it. That's what's... Where is it on the list, though? Like, I'm really nervous to hear where it is on the list.
It's number 5.
5? Okay.
5.
I respect that.
And here's the thing. While I will sit here and say it's my movie, like my favorite movie of the summer, and it's a really good movie, it does have its fair share of flaws.
Yeah.
I will admit your experience might be just a tiny bit dampened if you haven't watched the 5-season show. It stands alone, but there are certain things that you wouldn't pick up on if you hadn't seen the show. Kind of like a video game adaptation, where if you've played the game, you'll get it, but if you haven't, like, you can still enjoy it.
That makes sense.
So yeah,
my
number 5. That, as I mentioned earlier, there were 3 movies that I really enjoyed, felt like entertained me: Guardians, Miraculous, Ladybug, and the next movie we're going to talk about,
Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion.
I feel like this movie
I'm not wearing
is
my Haunted Mansion
unrecognized for how
it truly
good it is. How good it is. This is a good movie.
Disney finally makes a good movie.
And
Disney
one
finally makes a good movie, and nobody's going to see it.
They finally make a good movie, and who cares? And they're like, what?
They're going to learn the wrong lesson.
No,
that's the problem. Guys, you can't say Disney is woke and then not go see the one non-woke movie they make, because they'll never learn that way.
Yeah.
Yes, you can say it hurts their wallet. They're doing all these things that's hurting their wallet. Absolutely it is.
Sure.
But you also need positive reinforcement.
You got to say,
this is what we like. This is what we like.
Don't like.
Keep doing this.
Yeah. So Haunted Mansion, I had like half good. I was like weary because Haunted Mansion is one of those things where like they've tried it before. Like I haven't seen any of the other Haunted Mansion ones, so I know people that are like Eddie Murphy or die. I'm like, I don't have any reference point except the ride, which I love the ride. I was like, if they screw it up, I'm going to be really sad because I love the ride. And I was like, I don't know. Disney's kind of missing a lot. Like, the reviews were like, if you like Haunted Mansion, you'll like the movie. But if you if you're not like a Disney adult, then you're not going to be into it. I disagree. I think this is just a good enough movie to go and enjoy. And so I feel like the story was really solid. They got a lot of actors. They've mixed really well with well-known actors that were like kept it alive. But I was like, oh, that's Owen Wilson. Oh, that's Maya Rudolph. That's Rosario Dawson. But they also were Danny DeVito. But they also like threw in some people that I had never seen in anything, and they like were super fresh and funny. And like, I'm really glad they were there. And all the actors did a really great job. The visual effects didn't look like they were done on Windows Live Movie Maker.
True.
Like, they actually looked pretty decent. And I was like, how? What's the disconnect from this movie to other stuff? Like,
I think it's because they actually delayed it to give them more time. It was supposed to come out in March.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And then they delayed it to July. By the way, why? Why? Disney, why? You sent this movie to die. Why did you put out a spooky Halloween movie in the middle of July? Why?
If this movie came out in like
What's
October,
the reason?
It would have been a smash. Just because
you're
like,
gangbusters, dude.
We gotta go see Haunted Mansion. It's spooky season. Like, let's go. And here's my theory. I think they know the Marvels is gonna flop, so they had to swap some stuff around.
No. I think they're looking for a bump in Disney Plus subscribers during the spooky season.
That is
because
valid
I guarantee you, when they start doing their fall Halloween marketing cycle, this movie is gonna come up.
That makes
sense.
sense.
They're gonna say. And they're going to use the underperforming at the box office as an excuse to put it on there sooner rather than later.
Which sucks.
Instead of waiting the 3 months.
Yeah.
Which 3 months would it put them at the end of October. But,
yeah, but they want it at the beginning of October.
But they want it at like the end of September.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to use that to justify it being like,
sense.
Oh, well.
I don't know. I'm just frustrated because this is a great movie, but it's not performing well. Because it is kind of niche. It's kind of niche. Like, if you've never been to Disney World.
Okay. I'm going to fight you on that.
Okay.
It's not. I don't think it's as niche as you think it is.
Okay.
Because I think you're underestimating how many people have gone to Disney and how popular Haunted Mansion is.
That makes sense.
Because
especially
Haunted
of the
Mansion
other movies.
Is the one ride that is consistent at all of the other theme parks.
That does make sense.
Like, there is a Haunted Mansion at every version of Magic Kingdom that exists in the world. It's that important that every time they build a new park, it is high on their list of we need to make sure this is here. There are different mansions depending on where you go, and there's a lot of lore there, which is nice because that means if they ever want to do a sequel, which they won't because it financially underperformed, the lore is there.
Mm-hmm.
The in-universe lore is there.
Yeah.
And going in as a Haunted Mansion fan, I was like you. I was very on the fence because this is my favorite ride at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And
That makes
easily
sense.
in my top 3 of like all Disney rides.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was very
Wholeheartedly.
worried. This and Tower of Terror are both movies that I
Yes.
was very worried about.
Oh my gosh. I'm
Tower of
scared.
Terror still hasn't come out yet. But I went in after seeing the critics thought it was bad. I was like, oh, okay, then maybe it'll
So it's
actually
gonna
be
be
somewhat
good.
decent. So whatever the critics say, it's usually the opposite.
Yeah.
So I went and saw it with my sister, and the whole time we were like just having fun.
Yeah. You're like, this is kind of good.
And we were laughing, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And what's the main guy's name?
Ben.
Ben.
Yeah.
I really liked him.
I
as a
loved
character.
him. He was
his
awesome.
actor. I don't know the actor's name. Did a
Yeah.
phenomenal job.
I've never seen
was
him in
really
anything.
funny.
He was phenomenal.
Delivered all his lines really well.
Yeah.
Had great chemistry with everyone else, and I really got into like his backstory
Yeah.
of like his wife
the,
died.
like, dead wife type, like, because sometimes the dead wife narrative is a little lost on me. Where they're like watching the videos of like, what are you doing? Stop. I'm just recording you because of how beautiful you are. And I'm like, what the frick?
I liked that they added in the regret of
Yes.
how things ended. And as someone who went through a similar situation, not with a wife, but with a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and like, oh, if I could see them one more time,
Yeah.
these are the things I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And just having that was
Like,
really
yeah.
good and actually got kind of deep.
Yeah, it's so genuine.
And like a lot deeper than I thought it was going to go for
Yeah.
a ride, for a movie about a Disney World ride.
yeah. Yeah.
Also, say what you will about Jared Leto, I think he did a decent job as a Hatbox
he did
Ghost.
good in this movie. He did good.
Mainly because he looked like Morbius and he didn't really have to do any acting because Jared
Yeah.
Leto's already pretty weird and runs a cult in real life.
Yeah.
So just translating that into the Hatbox Ghost, they're pretty similar. He didn't have to
not-
do any acting.
You know, I'm not. You know, it was just method acting. You know, he was. I don't like Jared Leto, but that was a good choice. So yeah, I'm excited.
It
I
was-
liked Haunted Mansion.
It was a very faithful adaptation from a fan perspective, and I think this is very similar to the Mario movie,
Mhm.
where it's faithful to the fans, not the critics.
Yes,
Because
Yes.
they know the critics are not the ones who are driving sales. I think most studios are finally catching on that a critic review doesn't really mean a lot,
Yeah.
and it's more the audience review. So when the Haunted Mansion fans go see it and say, hey, you like Haunted Mansion? You're going to love this movie because it's very faithful.
Yep.
Yes, they used the Disneyland exterior for the main mansion, but when they go to the other one, the
Yep.
exterior of that other mansion is the Florida one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, if you don't know that, it doesn't detract from your enjoyment of
Yeah.
the movie. But if you do know, it's kind of like the
You're like,
Leonardo
oh.
DiCaprio meme where he's
You're
like,
like,
oh, I know that thing.
Yeah. That
So
makes sense.
I also like that some of the things like the stretching room was in there.
Yeah.
They put some of the pre-show ride audio
Yes.
in there.
That was good.
Or like the lines were there. And they also had Grim Grinning Ghosts, which you can't like
Come on, get out of here.
can't do a Haunted Mansion movie without that. If you
Get
do,
outta
you fail.
here.
So
Dude.
I very much enjoyed it. I
Owen
put it.
Wilson? Owen Wilson was funny. He was really
really
my
funny.
favorite part, I think.
This is a really funny movie.
Yeah,
like-
really funny. I didn't feel like the like creepy spiritual weird stuff was uncomfortable either. I don't
because
think
it
they
was
took
never
it too far.
like it was never portrayed in a serious way.
Right, it was
like,
never
it was always
real.
kind of funny.
Right. They were all the whole time they were like, ooh, ghost, spooky, which was the perfect approach because that's the point of Haunted Mansion, is it's spooky, not scary. And so it never like made me uncomfortable. They were like, oh, it's a ghost. They weren't like this
Right.
weird spiritual but like they're like, let's light a Yankee candle and like do I never felt uncomfortable.
It's the same vibe as the ride where you're like, oh, and a ghost will
You're like,
follow you home.
Ooh.
Which did
Yeah.
you notice that
Which-
they did?
like,
Every
it's
time
kinda
someone tried to
hooky.
leave,
Yeah, they
a ghost
did.
followed them.
Yeah, it's good. It's like
There was
supposed to be
some stuff.
hooky, and I like it.
I would not have picked up on some stuff if my sister didn't point it out.
What'd she say?
Like we were sitting there and she was like, oh, look, the chair is leaned back and the way they constructed
Yes.
the chair
Yeah.
looks like the
Looked
Doom
like the
Buggy.
ride.
Or she's the one who mentioned, did you notice the ghost followed him home?
Yeah.
Just
They're
like
like,
they say at the end of the ride, a ghost
Yeah.
will follow you home. And I was like, Still right.
Yeah, that's good.
It's really good.
It's my number 7.
Oh, dude, same.
Yo!
I also put it at number 7.
Number 7.
I really hope they do a Blu-ray. I want to buy it.
I would buy it, honestly.
This is another one I would buy on Blu-ray.
I really need more spooky movies to turn on in like that October,
Halloween.
September.
You
like
need more
those,
Halloween movies
right,
that aren't horror
that aren't
movies.
like horror movies, like fun Halloween movies. And you'd be like The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm like, yeah.
Have we ever decided where that
It's a
lands?
Halloween movie. It's a Halloween movie.
Is it?
You can't convince me that's a Christmas movie because it's like 75% Halloween. And then
He's
the
from
rest is
Halloween
Christmas.
Town.
No, yeah.
He's
it's
trying.
spooky.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, all right. Last movie
Last
to
one.
talk about is
Most recent one.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which I went in with no expectations. And I've seen
The
a little bit.
Spider-Verse Ninja Turtle movie.
Right. I've seen a little bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've seen one of the live action movies, both of the Michael Bay movies, little bit of
they made
not the Michael Bay movies. I've seen a little bit of the original cartoons, some of the Nickelodeon remake and like this and that. And I was just kind of like, okay, sure, whatever. I just want to go see a movie. This looks pretty good. I was blown away. This movie has so much heart. It's so genuine. This is the most accurate portrayal of like 14-year-old boys I've ever seen. And you could make the argument of like, ooh, they keep saying sus and like cringe and they say Riz in the movie and this, that. They're like so out of touch. And I'm like, no, this is how kids talk these days, air quote. And so like, I would argue that they are so in touch that it makes it a better movie. And I really, really appreciate it. And I think whoever made this movie has to have kids. They have to have sons and know what's up. And
Surely.
I think that Jackie Chan is phenomenal in the movie. All the kids did incredible. I really, really like when kid actors play kids in movies. Because it takes me out of it if they're not. It's like, oh, that is a 25-year-old man who is pretending to be a high schooler. It's like, there is no way. They actually
Ben
had
Platt.
kids. What? Who said what? No, sorry, Ben. Yeah, it was so genuine, so real, so sweet, so heartwarming, absolutely hilarious. I was laughing out loud in the theater. Funniest movie I've seen in the theater in a very long time. And it was just, there was no agenda, like you said. Like, there's no, like, I wasn't feeling pushed for anything. I felt like it had a really solid moral, actually, where they were like, hey, we were doing this for the wrong reasons. We need to do good because we need just to do good. And I was like, yeah. They were like, we were doing it for personal reasons, and that's not cool. I was like, guys, this is lit. Like, who knew Nickelodeon could make great movies in 2023? Like, who was going to tell me that? And, like, I also really appreciated Seth Rogen came on in the beginning, and he was like, hey, thanks for coming to see our movie, this and that. And I was like, you're welcome, Seth. Like, it felt so genuine. Like, they really cared about the movie. And so, I don't know. I'm probably going to get the Blu-ray, honestly. I want to watch it again. And I feel like it needs to be, like, more respected in the box office. Like, go see the movie. It's phenomenal. And the art style's incredible. It's meant to look like a kid drew the movie, which is so smart. So smart. Heart, humor,
is it?
comedy, everything. Yeah, that's what they said. They were like the little squiggles and stuff. That's the point, was to look like a kid's drawing.
That would explain why all humans look ugly.
Exactly. I think it's just because it takes
let's be
place
honest,
in New York.
No kid knows how to draw a human properly.
No, truly. I thought they were just ugly because it took place in New York, but I don't know.
I thought they were just ugly because that was a stylistic choice.
It's a stylistic choice that they're ugly. So, yeah.
I don't know
what
I
else
went
to
and saw
say.
it last weekend.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah.
Other than it was good.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird to hear anime used so casually as a pop
There's
culture
like
reference.
Attack on Titan.
Oh, I know how to take down this big thing because I've seen Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for appropriating my culture. All right,
like
fine,
it's
be that way.
like it's your culture. Thanks.
Anime is my culture. I'm not Japanese in any way, shape, or form. But it's my culture.
Thanks for. Hey, I appropriated it first. You can't do that.
Or like he had a Jujutsu Kaisen sticker
right
on his staff, and I was like, I think it's, jokes aside, I do think it's nice to see that Hollywood is starting to incorporate and acknowledge that side. I also don't know how I feel about it being in there, but that, like, when they were like sus, W Riz, I was like, okay, I get it. Like, you're trying to be accurate to 15-year-old kids, but also, how's that going to age?
Yeah.
Like,
that is the
surely
thing.
we're
like,
not going to be saying W Riz in 3 years. Like,
I don't know, honestly.
I don't
may
know.
just be like one of those time capsule movies where you're like, oh my gosh, remember when we
this
would
is
say
what it was
that?
like in 2023.
Like, wow. That is the thing. That's the other thing is it's a time capsule. You're like, this is what it's like to be 15 in 2023. But also a turtle and a mutant. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Hashtag relatable. So,
If I had a nickel for every time Jackie Chan played the master character for a group of 4 multicolored ninjas, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot. But it's weird that it happened twice.
Wow, that was beautiful. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say is it's a great movie and I think everyone should go see it. So, hey, I think that's our summer movie recap 2023. All right.
Now let's ask the question: was this a good summer or a bad summer? How was this summer for movies?
First things first, Ninja Turtles for me, kid you not, number 3. I had so much fun.
It's number 8 for me.
Number 3. I had so much fun. So, understandable.
Is that your Miraculous Ladybug?
Sure. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is my Miraculous Ladybug. We'll
good for
say
you.
that.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, sure. As far as good or bad, let me look. How many of these did I actually like?
I liked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
2, 3. I liked about 5 of the.
Because we didn't talk about Spider-Verse because we've already talked about it.
Yeah.
Which you might have gotten to. Like, you might have been listening to this episode. Why did you talk about Spider-Verse? There's another big movie. We already talked about it.
Yeah. I think I liked like 5 or 6 of the 10 or 11 movies I saw this summer. And so I would say pretty good. I'd say pretty good. But I'm also not going to say it was bad because I did enjoy a lot of the movies I saw.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to like hype it up like it was the best summer for movies ever because there was a lot of misfires. A lot of like franchises that were like trying to cash in and just didn't hit. A couple movies I missed. I didn't see Fast X because I'm not caught up on Fast and Furious. I didn't see Mission Impossible because I want to watch all of them at some point. I didn't watch any of the horror movies. I saw a couple scary ones came out. And I've heard.
Did you go see Elemental?
I didn't see Elemental. No, my family went and saw it and said that it was okay, but I didn't see Elemental. I haven't seen it yet. That is the thing is some of them were like forgettable enough to just skip. I was like, and as I think about the ones that I skipped, I was like, maybe it wasn't as good of a summer. But I also know that like everyone I know that saw Mission Impossible said that it was blew them out of the water phenomenal. I just want to be caught up on Mission Impossible before I go see it. And Fast X destroyed at the box office. I'm just not caught up to see it. So I would say it was pretty good summer, but we've had a lot better. So yeah, we're in it's a weird time to make movies right now.
I'm going to put this in because by the time we do another episode, we'll have a somewhat definitive answer.
Mm-hmm.
Barbie right now is about $100 million behind Mario
for highest,
and that's to
movie.
match it. That's not to pass it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think Mario is going to stay on top because Barbie in 2 weeks is going to streaming, and now that that's pretty common knowledge, I think the box office is going to slow down because people who haven't seen it are going to say, "Well, I'll just wait
for streaming
till it goes digital in 2 weeks." Because if you haven't seen it by now, it's not very high on your priority list.
Right.
So, whether or not Barbie can make $100 million in the next 2 weeks remains to be seen.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it could, but I think stranger things have happened. I also think that they have the potential for like to cheese the system a little bit and be like, you know how they did where they're like re-release or they're like special event movie, but it's just so that they can have the title of highest grossing, which I feel like that's not fair. But like
highest grossing of 2023 doesn't mean anything.
Right. But that's also not like
it doesn't mean anything, but I also still want Mario to be the highest grossing movie of the year. Because I think that's incredibly hilarious.
While the meme of Mario, I'm also like, feel like Barbie deserved it more personally.
No.
That's my personal opinion. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And it's my personal opinion that Mario deserved it.
We'll keep you updated. We'll keep you updated on our little feud here. But, unless you have anything else to say, I'm pretty satisfied. If you want to stay up to date,
I'm ready to go get lunch and play Fortnite.
I'm ready to go play Fortnite. So, if you want to stay up to date with the podcast, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter with the links in the description. And if you like what we do here, you can support the show. You can check out our merch with also in the description. Join our Patreon and get exclusive benefits, including monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. But if you're tight on cash, as we all tend to be, the best way to support us is leaving a 5-star review and sharing the show with a fellow nerd, because word of mouth is the best way for us to grow. All the links are in the description. Merch, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Great original content there. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, we're trying out, seeing if we can go a little longer in our episodes. So if you like it or you don't like it, let us know. Send a DM, send an email. We'd love to read your feedback and your comments, and we can't wait to see you in the next episode. Bye.